All right, 132 folks. I lied. I'm still looking at Unit 3, still looking at Chapter 19 because there's a couple things that I didn't want to miss that I did. So consider this the last part of that actual discussion. There is something called the Boxer Rebellion. There's something called the Open Door Policy. When we're looking for international trade, we're going to look, and we're going to look in the Pacific. We're going to look at a few other places along the way. And the problem is we're late starting. The British and the French are already out there. So when we decide to go ahead and reach out, um, facts is facts, folks. The British have been in India for 100 years. The British have been in China for close to that at particular point. But what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and propose an open door policy that anybody who likes it should be able to trade in whatever ports in the East, in the Orient, and wherever they can, as long as they're welcomed by the local people. And so what's going to do is we're going to push this open door policy. Great Britain, not real happy. France, not real happy. But they're going to kind of have to accept our help just a little bit because one of the things that we're going to see is we're going to see the Boxer Rebellion. The Boxer Rebellion is an anti-foreigner policy, something that comes up where the local people, there's a whole big faction of the local people called the Righteous Harmony Fists, or Boxers for short, because there's an upraised fist on their flag for their organization that are all about getting rid of the foreigners, and they're going to stage a rebellion. And as such, what's going to happen is that rebellion is going to be an attack on an international compound. And since we have troops relatively close, we're going to go ahead and join in the fight to go ahead and stop this international incident from happening. This is important because the fact that we are taking part in this international agenda means we're out there, that we're trading. Here's the other thing that's coming up is we're at an impasse. We are dealing with this brand new national idea of transport. And we are inviting people to come in, but we're only inviting the right kinds of people to come in. What we want is we want Europeans. We want, I can't say it any nicer than just white folks. We want people that share some of the same ideas, some of the same cultures, some of the same religions. And yet in the Pacific, along California, we have an influx of people from China, from Japan, from Asia in general. And so what happens is this: there is a blow up. And the blow up is a couple of things. I want you to know that we have something to do with this. Part of our open door policy is going to be that we're going to reach out. We have this brand new Navy. We have something called the Great White Fleet. What we're going to do is pull a page out of the Chinese history books. We're going to send out this great white fleet, these brand new American battleships, to go out and visit the world, to show them that we're friendly, to show them that we're mighty, to show them we're powerful, and extend an open palm of friendship and trade. Most people don't want us, or they've already been traded with, but we're going to open a new door, and that new door is going to be Japan. Japan has been a closed door for trade to all but the Dutch for well over 100 years, because we have the shoguns in charge. And the shogun dynasty that's been in charge for quite a while has made Japan off limits to outside trade, except for one small island on the outside perimeters by the Dutch, because the Dutch are not bringing religion. The Spanish bought religion, the French bought religion, everyone bought religion except for the Dutch, who bought trade. And so there is an emphasis on what they call the Dutch trade, or Dutch learning. What we're going to do is propose that they open the door to us for trade. They don't want to. We're going to send our ships, our white fleet there in memory of friendship, to go and say, hey, you should trade with us. We want to talk to the emperor. We want to talk to him about signing a deal for trade. The problem is the emperor isn't in charge. The shogun, the war leader's in charge. He has taken power from the emperor. The emperor is only a figurehead. why we are there demanding to speak to the emperor, because we know everything. What's going to happen is there's going to be an uprising on land, because it turns out the British and the French are there, and this uprising means that there is going to be a death of a British agent in the port, and so we're going to do the logical American thing. There is a riot, so we're going to turn the guns, the big guns from the ships onto the port and blow the hell out of the port and the rioters, and then we're going to go, boom, here's that treaty. We just want you to know this is how we handle problems, and should you need our help, we'll come back here. By the way, we'll pick up this treaty next year. We suggest you sign it. Now, yes, that is an exaggeration, but that's basically what happens. Is we're going to tell them that we're going to be back to trade. They're going to sign the treaty, and there's nothing they can do about it. Our great white fleet of diplomacy isn't very diplomatic. What this does do is it kicks Japan into action. Japan is really a somewhat backward, still feudal state at this particular point, with some introductions of industrialism, but not quite yet because they've been restricted. What this is going to do is force them to go, OMG, listen, the Americans are coming. They are a militaristic, imperialist, industrial society, much along the lines of Great Britain. And you know what happened to India. You know what happened to China. You know what happened to the other areas when these major imperialist, industrialist, military societies came in. They made them their whipping boys. So either we can go ahead and we can be the American whipping boy, or, hey, you know what? We can shop around. We got some money. We got the time. They're going to visit the Prussians, not Germans yet, Prussians. They're going to visit the U.S. They're going to visit, the British and the French. You're going to say, okay, so this is how you do this authoritarian economy. This is how you do this industry. This is how you do this manufacturing. This is how you do this imperialism. Okay, ship us this factory. Give us this technology. Send us these people. We're going to go ahead and incorporate it. We're going to make it all Japanese culturally. And what they're going to do is they're going to modernize and industrialize and militarize and create a modern imperialistic society. So by the time we get back, they're going to trade. But what we've done is we've created a monster. We've created a monster. They're going to step out and they're going to say, hey, we need to get some raw material. So we're going to expand into Korea. Well, China's in Korea, and what they're going to do is they're going to fight China. You look at the Sino-Japanese War, and we know that they're going to beat China, that they're going to beat Russia, that they're going to take a page out of our book and be quite an agent of change in the area. That's definitely going to create the possibility for trade. It's also going to create the possibility that we're going to have a lot more people of Japanese and Chinese descent here. And so what we're going to end up with is our standard paranoia of foreigners, what we call the yellow peril. And think discrimination, folks. Think color discrimination at this particular point, because what we're going to do is we're going to create some laws. And those laws, both on the books and off the books, are going to create a situation to where we're going to limit immigration. We're going to limit the ownership of property. And what that's going to do is kind of blow up on our faces. This yellow peril means we're going to end up with two new agreements, the Taft-Katsura Agreement, the Root-Takahira Agreement, and one more, the Gentleman's Agreement. The idea being is we're going to say, okay, well, listen, we ask you to come here. So we're going to set some limitations on how many more can come and how many more can do that, but we're also going to try to be a little bit nicer. This is also going to blend into something else that's happening at this particular point, and although it's not the United States, it is the United States history. It's called the Mexican Revolution, and the Mexican Revolution is huge because you start to talk about Mexican government, you start to talk about Porfirio Diaz, General Victoriano Huerta, Francisco Pancho Villa, not the guy that owns the restaurant, but the guy that the restaurant is named after. And there are some huge things happening at this point that we're going to be drawn into what is roughly their revolution and their civil war. Because, that they want our interaction, and if we have been standing up for a good neighbor policy, they want us to enact that good neighbor policy. There's a lot of stuff happening here, and I want you to realize that we're action areas in this. We're even reaching out at this point to a little place called Hawaii to make some business ventures and some acquisitions there. So, all right, this definitely is the last one for this particular chapter. Thank you.